A pleasant morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to tackle about the given topic, which is the Kohlberg theory of moral development. But first, let's define what is morality. So morality is a principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. So we all know that many people in the world and many of us has different idea of what is right and what is wrong. Meaning, yung tama sa'yo may be mali sa akin, and that area could little bit difficult. However, there are universal principles that vast majority people live and accept what is right and what is wrong. Halimbawa, to kill a person or ang pumatay ng tao. We all know that it is a heinous crime and most of us agreed na ito'y hindi tamang gawain. So now, let's proceed. What is moral development? Moral development focuses on the emergence, change, and understanding of morality from infancy through adulthood. Morality develops across a lifetime and is influenced by an individual's experiences and their behavior when faced with moral issues through different periods, physical and cognitive development. So there's a famous psychologist, Lawrence Kohlberg, born on October 25, 1927, expand on the earlier work of Cognitive Piaget to explain the moral development of children, and he believed it follows a series of stages, which are pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional, to be discussed with the next member. But first, let's read The Hen's Dilemma. The Hen's Dilemma. A woman was near to death from a special kind of cancer. There was one drug that the doctors thought might save her. It was a form of radium that a druggist in the same town had recently discovered. The drug was so expensive to make, but the druggist was charging 10 times what the drug cost to make. He paid $200 for the radium and charged $2,000 for a small dose of the drug. The sick woman's husband, Hans, did not have enough money to buy the drug. He went to everyone he knew to borrow the money, but he could only get together $1,000. He told the druggist that his wife was dying and asked him to sell it cheaper. But the druggist said, "No, I discovered the drug and I'm going to make money from it." Hence got desperate and broke into the man's store and stole the drug for his wife. Should Hans have broken into the store and stolen the drug for his wife? So if you were Hans, would you steal the drug to save your wife? Yes or no? Why and why not? As people age, Kohlberg's pattern in how justified whether or not they would steal the drug. The Hen's Dilemma is a thought exercise that is used to study ethics and morality scenarios. In psychology, it is used in Kohlberg's stages of moral development. Kohlberg would present this dilemma to people and then ask questions to determine their stages of moral development. So, I will give you another example of moral dilemma. In such a dilemma, choosing one moral will result in violating another, or doing one thing could bring positive result but it is morally wrong. As an example, stealing from the rich to feed the poor, though it is not wrong to help and giving someone what you have. Pero tumulong ka nga galing naman sa maling gawain. Next, let's have another example of a moral dilemma based on my experience. In the classroom, our teacher announced last day that we will be having an examination test tomorrow, but my best friend wasn't able to listen because she was busy with her new phone. Since the time is fast approaching, already an examination day and the paper already distributed, and she was doubt and confusing, nor wonder. She asked me a favor that she will going to cheat my answers. Do I need to give him an answer as a symbol of our friendship? What if the teacher confiscate my paper and punish me? But she's my best friend. What if she failed the exam? According to Kohlberg's theory of moral development, it is not focused on whether the actions are right and wrong, but it is focused on the moral reasoning behind them. So, those are the examples of moral dilemma, but it will explain and point out what stages that they are part. But let's have listen what are those stages.
There are three levels of Kohlberg moral development, which is the pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional, and each level has two sub-stages. Level 1. Pre-conventional morality. The young children are under the age of 9 years old. So, pre-conventional morality is essentially approach to the right and wrong taken by children, or it focuses on the individual consequences in defining what is right and wrong. The two substages of pre-conventional morality is the first is the obedience and punishment orientation. On this stage, it is determined the self-interest of children in their decision making as they seek to avoid punishment at all costs. For example, the man should not use a prohibited drug as he may go to jail if he is caught to the police. So, in this stage, Kohlberg reflects on the moral thought of children. At a young age, they believe that rules are meant to be followed and will not, it will go through with a punishment. At this moment, a child's reasoning from the example may include it is bad to use a prohibited drug or it is against the law. At this stage, is labeled as pre-conventional due to the limited association that children have the outline principles and view the ethics taught as something that society implements, not as something they internalize themselves. In short, this stage is the morality which how can you avoid the punishment? Stage 2. The individualism and exchange. This stage observes how children begin to adopt the views taught, but also recognize that there is more than one point of view for each matter. We know that each of us has a different and will and also have a unique outlook according to our interests. On stage, the children are not motivated by friendship or respect but by the personal advantages involved like for our attitude and behavior as an individual. Like for example, my mother told me to clean the house and wash the dishes, but I am busy in playing online games, then I don't want to disturb me in playing. After a while, I realized that it is not good when you not obey your parents. So, the one thing I can do is I am asking my mother if I am cleaning the house and wash the dishes, what would be my benefit on your task that you would give me? At this moment, I am aiming a reward such as an allowance that would be my return when I do the task. Kohlberg Stage 1 and Early Childhood Education. According to Kohlberg's theory, most preschool and some kindergarten students are still in the first stage of moral development. In this stage, it is important to lay the groundwork to encourage moral behaviors. The young children must encourage to behave to avoid being punished for misbehaving. By understanding this stage of moral development, teachers must help to the young children to guide them by setting up a guidance on the classroom to encourage their good behavior, and it is important to set clear rules for the behavior and the clear consequences for misbehavior. If the young children broke the rules or did not obey, so the children have a punishment, and to those children are obeying the rules at this level, it progressing towards stage 2 of level 1 to have a reward, and they will become more motivated to always follow the rules, and by offering of this reward, it will encourage to the children who are not following the rules. For example, the teachers are talking in front of the class, then the children are playing their new gadgets in the back. But the teacher has a rule and regulation in the class that when the teachers are talking or discussing in front, the children must listen. But if it's not listening or break the rules, so there is a punishment or consequences. So this is relation to the stage 1 of pre-conventional morality. At this moment, the teacher decides to give a reward to those children are listening. Like, I give 10 points to those are listening and 0 if it is not. So it is progressing towards stage 2 of level 1, the pre-conventional morality. This is the thing that a teacher can do to motivate or encourage the children to listen the discussion to give a reward.
Conventional morality is characterized by an acceptance of society's conventions concerning right and wrong. At this level, an individual obeys rules and follows society's norms, even when there are no consequences for obedience or disobedience. Stage 3. Good interpersonal relationships. This stage recognizes the desire to be accepted into societal group as well as how each person is affected by the outcome. In terms of our example, the man should take the medicine from the pharmacy in order to be a good partner to his wife. Stage 4. Maintaining the social order. In this stage, laws and social order reign supreme. Rules and regulations are to be followed and obeyed. In the example, the man should not steal the medicine because it is against the law. Children in the third stage are typically preteens or early teenagers and have now adopted the societal norms as their own. While they believe that people should behave appropriately in their communities, they recognize that there is no simple solution to moral dilemmas. In Kohlberg's study per the example, they accepted that he should steal the medicine and he was a good man for wanting to save her. They also reasoned that his intentions were good, that of saving the life of someone he loves. Stage 4 shows the moral development of a person as a part of a whole society. Each person becomes more aware of the impact of everyone's action on others and focuses now on their own rule, following the rules and obeying authorities. While Stage 3 highlights the close relationship with families and friends, Stage 4 attempts to maintain social order in the community. Pertaining the example, participants in Stage 4 would agree that while they understood why he wanted to steal the medication, they could not support the idea of theft. Society cannot maintain order if its members decided to break the laws when they thought they had a good enough reason to do so.
The third stage of Kohlberg's theory of moral development is post-conventional. It means moral reasoning is based on enduring or consistent principles. It is not just recognizing the law, but the principles behind the law. To expound this stage, post-conventional level dictates a person's sense of morality is defined in terms of more abstract principles and values. People believe that some laws are unjust and should be changed or eliminated. This level is marked by a growing realization that individuals are separate entities from society and that individuals may disobey rules with their own ethical principles. Typically includes such as basic human rights as life, liberty, and justice. Because post-conventional individuals eliminate their own moral evaluation of a situation over social conventions. So there are two substages of post-conventional level, and the first one is social contrast. It means laws that are wrong can be changed. One will act based on social justice. So as a general, in this stage, individuals' right determine behavior. The individual views laws and rule as flexible tool for improving human purposes. That is given the right situation, they have expectations to rules. The child or individuals becomes aware that while rules or laws might exist, the second substage of post-conventional level is universal principles. This is associated with the development of one's conscience, having a set of standards that drives one to possess moral responsibility to make societal changes regardless of consequences to oneself. Example of persons are Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King. According to Kohlberg, this is the highest stage of functioning. However, he claimed that some individuals will never reach this level. At this stage, the appropriate action is determined by one's self-chosen ethical principles of conscience. These principles are abstract and universal. In application, these types of reasoning involves taking the perspective of every person or group that could potentially be affected by the decision. So I will give you a specific example. A headmaster of the school explained the school rules and why they exist, and then he have been clarified the rules are valid. So the headmaster's highest moral principle is compassion. He believes that all people should have other viewpoint.
So the another one is Kohlberg stage 3, late elementary to middle school.
At this stage, students begin to think about their actions affect others. They may be less inclined to follow school rules if they can't see a clear benefit to following the rules. By allowing students in this stage to have a hand in creating the code of conduct, by discussing how different behaviors affect other students, students will be more willing to follow the rules. At this stage, students may start to become unwilling to blindly follow rules if they don't understand the reasoning behind them. In this stage, students starting to build their knowledge by knowing what is right and wrong, and they really know what are the different behaviors of their co-students. The students also know how to balance a situation, even though if there is an positive or negative effects from their co-students. In this stage, students must have a collaborative effort of a group or teamwork in order to achieve a common goal or to complete a task in the most effective and efficient way. Older students may begin to reach level 4 by the time they reach the end of middle school or the beginning of high school. Allow ample time for group projects and activities that give students at different stages of development the opportunity to work together and to learn how their behaviors affect others in a social context. Older students allowed to give enough or plentiful time for group projects and activities by working together or work as a team, and to learn how their behaviors affects others in a social context.